What special treatment did you get while others suffered? Swimming was my sanctuary until it became someone else's nightmare. Coach Brennan had been training me for state championships since I was 14, treating me like a son he never had. He'd wrap his arm around my shoulders after meets, whispering about Olympic trials and sponsorship deals. The other guys on the team called me his pet, but I didn't care. He didn't treat any of them badly either. We all loved him. I was breaking records and heading to Stanford on a full ride. When Coach announced we were getting a transfer student from the inner city, I figured the kid had hit the lottery. Darius showed up to our first practice looking like he'd stepped out of a magazine. 6'4", shoulders like a linebacker, and a backstroke that cut through the water like he was born in it. Coach Brennan watched him warm up with his predatory grin, already calculating the team points he'd score at regionals. Fresh meat, he muttered under his breath, and I laughed because I thought he was joking. Darius seemed hungry for it, eager to prove himself, talking about how he'd trained in a community center pool with broken lane lines and a coach who showed up drunk half the time. I genuinely believed Coach Brennan was about to transform this kid's life the way he'd transformed mine. But something twisted happened the moment Darius stepped into our world. During that first week, I watched Coach Brennan turn into someone I didn't recognize. He'd scream at Darius for breathing patterns that were identical to mine, force him to swim extra sets while I lounged on the deck with a protein shake. When Darius would ask for technique advice, Coach would snap, "Figure it out yourself, city boy." Meanwhile, he'd pull me aside for detailed stroke analysis and recovery tips. The contrast was so stark it made my stomach turn, but I convinced myself it was some kind of motivation strategy. 3 weeks in, practice became a torture chamber with an audience of one. Coach Brennan started designing workouts specifically engineered to destroy Darius, while I got modified sets for injury prevention. He'd make Darius swim butterfly until his arms gave out, then scream about his ghetto work ethic, while the rest of us did easy freestyle. During one particularly brutal session, he forced Darius to tread water for 30 minutes straight while holding weight plates above his head, screaming that he was too comfortable and needed to earn his place. I watched this kid who could outswim half our varsity team get reduced to tears in front of everyone, but we were all too stunned to say anything. My teammates and I met up after practice to talk about what we'd seen. The only motivation we could find for why Coach Brennan might be acting like this made our stomachs turn to even consider, but it was the only thing that made sense. Darius was black, and we weren't. It was sickening to think that the man we'd idolized was really a disgusting racist. None of us wanted to believe it. The moment that shattered everything happened during our biggest meet of the season. Darius had been swimming out of his mind all week, hitting times that would have qualified him for state, but Coach Brennan kept him out of the water for our most important races. Then, right before the final relay, he pulled Darius aside and said, "You're swimming anchor. Don't embarrass me or you'll walk home." Darius dove in trailing by 2 body lengths and somehow managed to catch up, touching the wall just behind first place. Instead of celebrating, Coach Brennan grabbed him by the shoulders and shook him like a rag doll. "That's what happens when you actually try. Maybe next time you won't coast through practice like you're doing me a favor." Darius stood there dripping wet, chest heaving, looking like a broken animal. That night I started filming everything. Every degrading comment, every impossible set, every time Coach Brennan would praise my mediocre performances while tearing apart Darius's exceptional ones. I felt like I was betraying the man who'd made me everything I was, but watching Darius disappear piece by piece was worse than any guilt I carried. 3 weeks of secret recording gave me enough evidence to bury Coach Brennan's career, and I knew exactly where to take it. The confrontation came during morning practice when I walked into the athletic department with my phone full of footage. Our athletic director watched the videos with her face getting redder by the minute. "This is criminal," she said, her voice barely controlled. "I'm shutting this down today." Within hours, she was poolside with 2 district officials, watching Coach Brennan berate Darius for a perfectly executed turn. When she called his name, the authority in her voice made the entire pool go silent. Coach Brennan was fired before the day ended, and our assistant coach took over with a completely different philosophy. Darius transformed back into the swimmer I'd seen on that first day, confident and powerful, eventually breaking 3 school records. I lost my preferential treatment but gained something better, the knowledge that I'd done the right thing. The strangest part is that even after everything, I still miss the coach who believed in me, but I'll never miss the man who tried to destroy someone else.